Imagine this. Two people die months apart. Doctors believe both deaths are natural. Their families grieve. The funerals are held, and everyone moves on. End of story, right? Well, not exactly. Because years later, investigators would uncover something that completely changed how these deaths were viewed. And at the center of it all was someone nobody expected, a respected priest. This is the story of the Vicarage murders. To understand this case, we need to start with Father Mathew Peiris. In Colombo, he was a respected Anglican priest. People trusted him. They came to him for guidance, advice, and spiritual support. To many, he was the last person anyone would ever suspect of being involved in a crime. Life at the church revolved around a close-knit community. Families knew one another, attended events together, and shared their lives with each other. Among those involved was a woman named Dalrene Ingram. As time passed, Dalrene and Father Mathew became increasingly close. At first, nobody thought much of it. Why would they? They were both active members of the church. Everything seemed perfectly normal. Then tragedy struck. Dalrene's husband, Russel Ingram, suddenly became ill. He experienced strange episodes of weakness and collapse. Doctors searched for answers but couldn't fully explain what was happening. As his condition worsened, his family could only watch helplessly. Eventually, Russell died. His loved ones were devastated. And as far as everyone knew, it was simply a tragic medical mystery. No murder investigation, no criminal inquiry, the case appeared closed. Life moved on. Church service continued. People returned to their routines. But months later, another familiar face became seriously ill. This time it was Eunice Peiris, Father Mathew's wife. She began suffering symptoms that seemed strangely familiar: weakness, confusion, unexplained health problems. Once again, doctors struggled to understand what was happening, and eventually, Eunice died. Another funeral, another grieving family, another unexplained death. And somehow, nobody connected the two cases. At least, not yet. Then someone noticed something unusual. Two deaths, similar symptoms, the same church community, the same circle of people. Maybe it was a coincidence, but the more people looked at it, the less it felt like one. The turning point came when medical records were reviewed more closely. The similarities between the two deaths became difficult to ignore. What once looked like separate tragedies now appeared connected. Soon investigators began taking a closer look. Witnesses were interviewed, timelines were reconstructed, relationships were examined, and one name kept appearing over and over again: Father Mathew Peiris. As detectives dug deeper, they uncovered something that surprised many people. Father Mathew and Dalrene appeared to share a much closer relationship than anyone had realized. Suddenly, investigators had a possible motive. After all, both of their spouses were now dead. But a motive alone wasn't enough. They still needed evidence. As medical experts re-examined the deaths, prosecutors developed a shocking theory. What if these weren't natural deaths at all? What if someone had caused them? The investigation gathered momentum, and eventually authorities made a move that stunned the nation. Father Mathew Peiris was arrested. Alongside him was Dalrene Ingram. For many Sri Lankans, it was almost impossible to believe. A respected priest now stood accused of murder. The case moved to court, where prosecutors presented evidence, witnesses testified, and medical experts explained their findings. The defense challenged the accusations, but after hearing the evidence, the court reached its decision. Father Mathew Peiris was found guilty. Dalrene Ingram was also convicted. The verdict sent shockwaves throughout the country. However, the story didn't end there. Appeals followed, and in a surprising twist, Dalrene's conviction was eventually overturned. Father Mathew's conviction, however, remained in place. The Vicarage murders remain one of Sri Lanka's most fascinating true crime cases, a story that began with two unexplained deaths and ended with a shocking investigation that nobody saw coming. But what do you think? Was justice served? Let me know in the comments. This has been Inkvestigation. Until next time, stay curious.